I wanted to start by asking you about my favorite character in your writing, and that's Wilson Walker Cowan. One of the reasons for asking this question is that you read part of Melville's Marginalia last night. So those who were here, and my students have read that, and maybe Patty's students have read it as well. He's an interesting figure. You call him a subgraduate student. He's what in the 60s and later would be thought of as a sort of bibliographical drudge. You know, he was the kind of old historicist, a textual critical work of transcribing the passages that Melville marked in his own reading. And you really are, he's sort of a hero. You know, you really are, you call him you are his commentator. And at least I feel he's a hero. And you use, in that work and others, you don't have a sharp axe to grind against academia. Sometimes you do. This isn't a tirade against academia. It's, in a way, a plea for the valuation of work like this, which is so important. So you read it last night. I wanted to just, in an open-ended way, invite you to say something about what Cowan means to you, what he should mean to all of us. And maybe there's a lesson in that about the kind of... And there's one more thing about Cowan. He died in 1987 at 53, which is young. And you imply, you don't say it, but you imply in a way that the academic marginalization, I wouldn't say killed him, but you kind of imply that his short life was kind of a sad thing and really epitomized the poor guy's drudge.
Well, I don't know actually anything about him, but I don't consider him a poor drudge.
Right.
And also I was being funny there in that I was trying that this Leviathan dissertation killed him. Right.
The white whale.
Yes, and I was trying to make him a Bartleby figure, sort of the. Well, not both a Bartleby figure, but really my favorite part of Moby Dick is the beginning section with the sub-librarian,
right,
and the extract section. Those two sections of that book, I've done whole seminars not whole seminars, but classes and seminars just on those two chapters, which I announced the magnificence of the book to come, and so that figure of the sub-librarian is heroic to me. And I let's see.
Well, you make a wisecrack elsewhere. A wisecrack isn't the right word, but you say somewhere else in another context, but similar context, you know, despite the fashion of new historicism, which was really fashionable at the time you wrote that line, ... there's this kind of work that's still left to be done. And so I want to push it a little bit because I think you really do think that Cowan's work is crucial, and probably would say maybe to an audience like this that that kind of work should be done.
Well,
can I get you to say that?
It's a new world out there now, so with the internet and computer. But it was, for me, at the time I was at Temple, to discover those two huge volumes called Melville's Marginalia.
Almost out of reach.
Yeah, really. They were, as I remember, hidden away. And by the way, very few libraries have them. Yale doesn't have it. Temple had it.
Yay, Temple!
Yes, Temple.
Temple University here in Philadelphia.
Buffalo didn't have it, but Temple had it, and
it's expensive.
I think nobody. That's the sort of thing people actually aren't interested in, and they should be interested in.
There we go.
And I also, on opening the book, the form of the book was it seemed like an Olsonian project to me.
Yes.
It was like these two big books, like the Maximus books, let's say. And his method was to just cite the passage where the marginal mark had been. So everything was disrupted. You know what I'm saying? You'd have just a little passage and then something completely different, another passage. Right. And it was like reading a prose poem. And it was extraordinarily, it sort of reminded me of my own work or something.
Yeah,
or,
exactly.
The way to go. It was, it was the sort of structure of the way he had done it inside that I found really just sort of a kind of art form or writing form that was in itself something original.
And it's a thrill to discover such a thing for you, I think. A thrill to find that great passage that you read about the parenthesis in Mangan's work, a thrill to find Cowan and be able to champion him. I mean, to find something that's so apparently uncool and unfashionable and make it Olsonian, make it interesting. What's the thrill, if there is one?
Well, also you feel that you feel that the marks he makes are a kind of sort of telepathic communication with you as reader. Apart from his writing, they're what he loves, right, or what he argues with, or what he cares for. And so they're like messages. And, I really do believe that writing is a community, that we're in a community, and that you pass from one, poetry passes down through a community of poets. And so this is a beautiful sort of perception of what a community is, because these other, like Philip Massinger, right, or Clarence Mangan, or right, Shelley, or they come down through Melville on to us.
They're part of what
it's a
Creeley
passage.
used to call the company.
The company.
Yeah.